All right, this is Dan Meehan for Fight News Australia, and today we have Eternal Flyweight champion Astro Boy Steve Erceg, who takes on short notice replacement Cody Haddon at Eternal MMA 60 on June 5. Steve, how are you?
Yeah, I'm well. What about yourself?
Really good. Thanks for stopping by. Before we get stuck into it, I'd have to know the background of the Astro Boy nickname. Where did that one come from?
Uh, so my coach's partner at the time sort of made it up just out of the blue. Just, yeah, it's nothing special. Just, yeah, plucked it out of thin air and it sort of stuck.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There you go. I had high hopes for that question, but yeah, that was a
No, nothing to it.
pretty short story. All good.
Yeah.
All right. Now, yeah, you just you snuck in a fight just before the world shut down when you won the Eternal Flyweight title against Shannon Ross in March 2020. How did it feel to take the belt, and what did that win mean to you?
That was really good. It was sort of validates all the work that I put in and my coach to put in to get to what I think is a big stage and actually perform on a big stage under quite a bit of pressure. So, yeah, it was good for me, validating for me, and hopefully keep doing it.
Yep. And while your first defence will have to wait a little bit longer, you've had to wait 15 months to see any action at all, really. So what did the rest of 2020 look like for you, and how good does it feel to be getting back to work?
Really good to get something back in. It's like I feel like I'm wasting my prime, basically. At 25 years old, best time to start getting in those fights. Like I'm the champ, so people are going to start coming to me rather than me having to find people to fight all the time. So it was very frustrating, but the only thing I could do was train and get better. So that's what I did. I was in the gym all the time, or as much as I could with all the lockdowns and stuff like that. So just slowly getting better and better. And hopefully it shows on June 5th.
All right. And you're originally scheduled to defend your flyweight title in a rematch against Paul Loger, but obviously due to an injury, he's been replaced by Cody Haddon in a non-title fight at bantamweight. So how disruptive is it to lose an opponent a few weeks out like that?
It's losing opponent. Like unfortunately, I've had a lot of this happen. Sort of unlucky, I guess, or it's the fight game. I don't know what it is, but it's sort of it's sort of normal. The only hard part is not knowing if you're going to get a replacement because you don't know. Like you're still training hard, but you don't want to train as hard as you are training if you don't have somebody to fight. So it's just like those few days before you get somebody new that's a bit difficult. But when you finally get the opponent, it doesn't feel any different.
Right, and you're stepping up to bantamweight. And this one, I see you've dabbled in at bantamweight in the past. Do you plan to make the jump permanently at some point, or is flyweight home for you?
I don't feel like I'm a very big guy, so bantamweight, I'd have to get a bit bigger first. I think if I was going to make it home, flyweight's still pretty manageable, and I think I perform best at flyweight. But yeah, I couldn't see myself getting a flyweight fight on short notice, so I took what I could get, and yeah.
Do you feel like the weight will be an issue for you? Do you think it'll be sort of much of a disadvantage on the night?
I don't think Cody's that big anyway. I think he's probably slightly shorter than I am, but maybe a little bit bigger. So I can't see it being really any different to a flyweight fight, except the fact that we both don't have to cut too much weight. So that'll be nice.
Yeah. Speaking of which, how's training camp been? Have you been able to relax on the diet a little bit now that you don't have to cut down to flyweight?
Yeah, well, I was starting to get pretty low, and as soon as I found out I was fighting a bantamweight, I was trying to eat more food, put a little bit back on, so to have a bit more energy and perform a little bit better, be a little bit fitter with the extra, hopefully not losing muscle and a little bit extra fat on your body. Just helps you perform a tiny bit better.
Yep, and you're from the Wilkes Academy, which is maybe one of the lesser known gyms in terms of sort of producing fighters. What's the training room like down there?
Yeah, it's good. So I'm the only pro there, but we have we have a few really dedicated dudes that come down and they're always putting me through my paces, good jiu-jitsu guys, some good wrestlers there. Although it's not like a prolific fight gym, I still get some hard rounds and stuff in. So no, it's been good.
And your opponent, Cody Haddon, is a pretty highly respected prospect. So how do you feel you match up with him, and what does he bring to the table that you think you need to be most aware of?
I think he got decent jiu-jitsu and his boxing pedigree is pretty good. I've watched both of his his skills in both of those areas, and I think that I'm better in both. Maybe if it was pure boxing, he'd have an advantage there, but like obviously elbows, knees, punches, kicks, all of that is available to me. So I feel like I'm a little bit more diverse, and on the ground, especially with my wrestling, I think I'm just going to have better control. I'm going to be on top. I just feel better there than he is.
Right. Yeah. Okay, I always have to ask this, but you're 6-1 as a pro now, and obviously a win over Haddon would take you to 7-1. What are your goals in MMA overall? Like, where do you want to go with it?
Well, I want to be the best in the world, and the UFC seemed like the best athletes are there. So I want to be in the UFC, and I want to try to prove to myself that I am one of the best guys, full stop, not just in Australia.
Right. And how far do you think that call might be? Like, there seems to be a bit of a trend at the moment with guys just biding their time and staying on the regional scene for a little bit longer. Like, how far off do you feel like the call to the big leagues might be?
I don't know exactly. Obviously, I think I'm at a weight class where it's a little bit shallower. So I think it might be a little bit easier for me to get into the UFC than, let's say, like a middleweight or a welterweight, where there's like the divisions are stacked. It's, like dog eat dog. So I think within a year, as long as I get maybe 2 or 3 more wins, I could, potentially be there.
Brilliant. And before I'll let you go, do you have any sponsors or anyone you'd like to shout out? I'll hand this one over to you.
Yeah, cool. I'd like to thank Intrepid. They handle all my like sportswear, my gloves, my training gear, all that sort of stuff. So thank you to them. I'd like to thank obviously Mr. Wilkes and Wilkes Academy, Gladiator Wrestling for my wrestling. Best coaches there in Australia, I think. So big shout out to them. There's heaps of people, but they're probably the main few.
Perfect. Well, Steve, thank you so much for stopping by, and all the best at Eternal 60.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks for talking to me.